The manner in which a man conducts himself defines him. What you do on a consistent basis will, in the end, determine both the results you achieve and the kind of person you are. Because of this, your daily schedule and routine need to be very carefully crafted. You should also ask yourself on a consistent basis whether or not your habits are assisting you in reaching new levels. Here are 5 practices that every man should incorporate into his life. Number 1. Track everything you want to improve, and I really mean everything. This is by far one of the best tips. Here is a list of the 5 practices that every man should incorporate into his life. I really wish that when I was younger, someone had pointed out to me, see, the reason you are not making those gains in the gym, you are not getting girls, or you are not making those significant improvements in life. It all comes down to this, especially for a man who is just getting started with self-improvement and needs to keep in mind that it's a numbers game. Practice makes perfect, as the old adage goes, and the more you do something, the better you get at it. However, practicing something without keeping track of your precise progress is pointless. You go to the gym one day and curl a bar that weighs 20 kilograms for 10 repetitions. A few days later, you go to the gym and for some reason end up curling a bar that weighs 15 kilograms for 10 repetitions instead. Thinking that you have made some progress only if you have a journal where you are tracking your output and where you have written down exactly what exercise you are doing, how much weight you lifted for how many reps, and other helpful tips and information. If you maintain proper form, for example, you could lift the same amount of weight or attempt more repetitions. You've probably heard that the only person you should be competing against is yourself and not other people. This is the precise definition of what it means to compete against you. Well, this is how you begin, and this is not something that is unique to the fitness center. Let's say you want to acquire more customers once more. It all comes down to numbers. Make a note of the exact number of cold calls that you made that day, as well as the number that you were successful in closing. Also make a note of what worked and what didn't work. While you worked to make the sale, you may have noticed that the number of calls you successfully closed gradually increased over time. Additionally, you may have noticed that your energy levels gradually increase day by day. Because you can plainly see that you are getting better, this is the reason why some men go to the gym for 1 week and then stop going after that. When they look in the mirror, they simply don't see the muscles they've been working so hard to build. They lose their motivation, but if you have been keeping track of your progress, you do not necessarily need to see actual physical results in order to feel motivated just yet. A second piece of advice is to tackle the activity on your to-do list that is the most difficult first thing in the morning. The primary reason we put things off is not because we enjoy being active or because we are lazy. Rather, it can be summed up in one word: fear. The reason we put things off is because we are afraid of the task at hand. This anxiety may arise from any number of different sources. You might, for instance, believe that the task is either too big or too difficult, or that you simply do not comprehend how to complete it. You need to get these kinds of difficult tasks out of the way first thing in the morning, because the longer you wait, the more excuses you will find to avoid actually completing the work. The third piece of advice that you should already be familiar with is to refrain from bringing your phone into the bedroom, especially if you have been working on your self-improvement for a considerable amount of time, but chances are that you are currently lying in bed and watching this video late at night. This is a poor habit that can slowly creep into your lifestyle and completely kill your momentum, and here's why. Studies have shown that even if you don't use your phone for extended periods of time late at night, you still end up falling asleep 2 or 3 hours later than you should have. This is the case even if you don't use your phone at all during those hours. However, quickly checking your phone can be enough to jolt your brain awake so that it can continue to be active and engaged for a long time. After you have spent some time scrolling through social media or responding to a few work emails, even after you have shook your phone to clear it, you find that you are thinking about the email or direct message that you should have sent. You just sent, which indicates that your brain is very engaged at this time. At this point, your brain ought to be relaxed and in its natural state, in which it wants to shut off for a while. And of course, we can't forget about the circadian rhythm, which is severely thrown off by the blue light emitted from our smartphones. Tip number 4. When you are working, put your phone in the do not disturb mode or turn it off completely. Take a moment to reflect on all the times you sat down to work and ran through in your head the list of things you needed to accomplish during the time you set aside for that activity. However, when you hear the notification bell on your phone, you pick it up to respond to the message, but before you know it, you are already on Instagram. Just by mindlessly scrolling, you end up wasting about an hour of your time, which you could have used to finish the task you were working on in the first place. This habit of picking up your phone like a parrot every time the notification bell hits will make you nothing short of a chronic procrastinator. As a result, you should either turn off your phone completely or put it in do not disturb mode for the amount of time that you sit down. The ability to use your time exactly for the purpose you intended it to be used for will set you apart from 99% of your fellow humans. This is the core concept behind deep work. In almost any profession, the principle of deep work applies. Whether you are a student or a doctor, you will find that you must complete the tasks on your schedule in the order listed and without procrastinating. This is an extremely valuable ability to acquire, and habit number 5 addresses the problem with the legal system. Your life may be fraught with anxiety for a number of reasons, one of which is that you never address the fundamental problem. How often do you hear men grousing about their jobs, their wives, and their children, but what steps have you taken to address these problems? This ties back into the masculine principle of don't complain, fix it to some extent, which can be summarized as don't be a whiner. If you want to move on and improve in your life, you will need to make decisions. This may sound harsh because we like to live in a feel-good state that is driven by our emotions, but if you want to move on and improve in your life, you will need to make decisions. That might be challenging right now, but it will pay off in the long run. For example, let's say you despise your job. What do you think the average person in that situation will do? It should come as no surprise that when he returns home, the first thing he brings up in conversation is the challenging day he had at work. He does this with everyone he encounters. He can't help but complain about his stressful job and life, but what steps has he taken to actually improve his situation? Has he looked into getting a job that more closely aligns with his interests? 99% of the time, he is working toward acquiring the appropriate skill sets and experience to achieve that new job, which would allow him to work less, earn more, and feel more satisfied. The answer to this question is no, because you are far too preoccupied with griping and arguing with other people to even consider taking action regarding a legal matter. The same holds true for your marriage goals, physique, and so on. Whatever it is that you want to achieve in life, you can't beat around the bush like a nice guy. You need to take it head on and address the court issue. Same goes for your marriage goals and your physique. Now that I've finished, I'll see you in the next.